So I know you heard me say 80-20 when it comes to like my nutrition, but girl, what does that mean? I'm glad you asked. So a simple way of doing it is look at how many days of the year are there, multiply that by 80%. Though that is the time and days where it's going to be really important for you to make sure that you are eating your meals, drinking your water, doing other things. The 20% of that is for me a really good way to kind of schedule out my days throughout the year. Where am I going to have a vacation, the holidays that are coming up, like just being able to have that flexibility, I'll call it, so that I don't fall off and then get upset with myself that I wasn't good, which, what? Anyway, but it really and truly keeps me on track. It helps to ensure that I'm not causing more harm to myself because I'm not like focused on, oh my gosh, I have to track all the things, I have to do all the things. And I can just move along with my day. So let me give you an example. We are going to use this barrier of dog treats so that we can stay focused. So we have 166 days left in the year. If I multiply that by 80%, that means that I have 132 days left in this year where I want to focus on being on plan. So for me, that looks like eating 4 meals a day, making sure that I get my protein in, making sure that I am eating lots of fibrous foods, whole grains, whole wheat, water, reducing the snacking, insert all the things. And I do want to point out that one thing that many of my clients have struggled with when we first talk to them, whether we are looking at macros or they have met with their doctor or a dietitian and they're like, girl, how am I supposed to eat all this damn food? And to that I say, initially it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard at first because you'll be like, what? And I have gone through the same thing myself. I have. So I completely understand because I be sitting there like, I can't do this. Hold on, wait. What? But as you start to strength train or you're starting to increase your movement, or if you are working a corporate position, all the meetings and things that could have been an email, that takes up a lot of mental capacity, and you need the nutrition and the fuel, especially in the form of carbohydrates. We are not afraid of carbs over here. We love carbs. That is an essential fuel source for your body. Okay, great. Glad we went over that. But 132 days, okay? Okay. That leaves 33 days where I can be more flexible, okay? Now, 132 days is technically 5 months. No surprise there. Now, when I account for the official holidays, and reluctantly and begrudgingly, I put one of those holidays in there that I will call Indigenous Peoples Day. Okay, great. That could come into play, especially if you are a teacher or if you are someone that often gets a lot of those holidays off. I just put that in there. Okay. So those holidays include Thanksgiving and Christmas. Now, I am very well aware that we will be eating leftovers for what feels like forever for Thanksgiving and Christmas, depending on the holidays that you celebrate. Maybe you have Hanukkah in there, and insert a lot of our other holidays for different cultures that come into play, whether it's fasting or celebrations or what have you. I just thought of about 5 and my brain froze, but you get the point. That leaves 28 additional days where you can just say, all right, I might be going on vacation. I'm not going to worry about it. I might be off. I might be attending an event. I might be doing these things. Cool. What does that look like for you? Now, for me, I want to add a caveat because when I say free, free for me is flexible. And one of the things that I see people also do is like, oh, free meal, cheat meal. Nope. I don't classify my meals as cheat meals because why am I doing that to myself? If I want to go to a barbecue and I have my hamburger, I have french fries, I have a salad, and I have a dessert, okay, fine. For me, it's really important to take that guilt and shame and that emotional charge away from those food sources and really focus on how is this food actually fueling my body? And also, how do I feel when I eat said foods? And I actually have a couple of podcast episodes on this, on my podcast, the Thyroid Warrior podcast, early on. And sometimes even when you're thinking about snacking, are you doing this because you're actually hungry, or are you bored, or are you thirsty? Those are all things that you really and truly want to consider when you are walking through your day. We know there are certain times of the year, certain days, certain events that are going to trigger us and will be difficult. And remember, our culture, our society, we're connected to food. We use food for so many things, whether it's a celebration, when we're sad, when we're bored, happy hours, insert all the things. So that is something that I need you to take some time out to explore for yourself. And what I mean by that is, when you're sad, how does your appetite and your mood tend to change or shift? Do you eat more? Do you eat less? What happens when you're stressed out by something at work? Do you eat more? Do you eat less? Do you snack? Do you tend to clench your jaw? Do you grind your teeth? Because think about that too. I am someone who, I have very soft tooth enamel, and if I even look at a snack, cake, or some juice or something too long, I'm gonna get cavity. I will talk about another example of social determinants of health in my teeth in a later video. But what experiences did you have around food when you were growing up? What experiences did you have about body image when you were growing up? Current state. We all know what's being pushed in the media, especially as it relates to a woman's body, but even a man's body. And people don't like to talk about that because that just blows my mind. Again, I will record another video on that for another day, but I have definitely worked with a lot of men clients, and the things that they have shared with me would bring you to tears. So please don't think that just because you are a man that you cannot still apply these same principles. You all have a lot to deal with, especially when you are a Black man existing in this world today. I get it. I just want to also honor that as well. Let's not forget about chronic illness and autoimmune disease, or if you are someone that has experienced trauma, or you lived in a food desert, or you have food insecurity. So if you are someone that has a chronic illness or an autoimmune disease, or if you have gone through trauma, this is going to be a really important exercise for you to think about as you move through life. What is your relationship with food, and how does that impact you on a day-to-day, especially when you have to rely on other forms of sustenance like TPN or any other life-sustaining care? That is also going to have an impact on your ability to, one, exist. Again, that's for another video. But two, that's going to impact your energy. And then also, how do you even find a safe space or a safe provider that understands what you're going through and can give you that support? So think about it.